morning and welcome to our weekly mini session. Each week we will deliver a bite-sized workshop on hot topics. This workshop will be live on our main Facebook page as well as our certified teachers group. We will also have it recorded so you can reference it and all of our previous topics on the AcroDance Resource Center. Be sure to let us know where you're from in the comments below. Today's topic is combining inversion skills. We have special guest teacher Trish Thompson-Creamer with us today. And Trish is an expert acro teacher, one of my absolute favorites. So we are very, very lucky to have her with us today. Just a few things about Trish. She started training competitive artistic gymnastics when she was a kid. And after much practice and years of hard work, she became well established in the gymnastics community as a coach and judge for Ontario Gymnastics Federation. During that time, Trish also explored the world of dance, and soon it became her true passion. She eventually decided to stay in the dance world, building reputation as a talented and creative teacher choreographer, with her forte being in acrobatics. In 1992, Trish opened the doors to Rhythm Plus Dance Company, which is now celebrating over 25 years in Stony Creek, Ontario. She has become known as a national renowned, actually international renowned teacher, choreographer, and adjudicator, achieving much recognition and acclaim from the dance community. Her students have gone on to have countless titles, including Miss Dance of America, Junior Mr. Dance of America, Teen Miss Dance of America, Teen Mr. Dance of America, and Miss Dance of America, and Mr. Dance of America through Dance Masters of America. She's also achieved Junior Dancer of the Year and Young Dancer of the Year at the American Dance Awards, in addition to a whole bunch of other things. She also choreographs for television, including The Next Step. And her kids are just known for having unique and interesting transitions and acrobatics. And so we are just so lucky to have you here today. And we are also lucky to have one of my favorite dancers, Zofia, who's also here, and she is going to wow you. So Trish, I'm going to let you take it away.
Okay, thank you, Mandy. That was a huge introduction. I appreciate that so much. And thank you for the opportunity to have us here today to share some of our combinations or our ideas that we could put together for some inverted skills. So like Mandy said, this is Sophia. Sophia has been a student of mine since, I don't know, like when she took her first breath. And I'm just always honored to have opportunities like this, so I get to spend some time with some of my favorite dancers too. So today is special because it brings Sophia and I together during this, uncertain time, and I look forward to being able to share what we have. So hopefully, some of these skills might be something that you can incorporate in your classes or in your choreography, but anyways, let's just get started, and here we go. So I'm just gonna move off to the side here just so that you can see Zofia, and I'll try to kind of bring myself into the frame whenever I need to. So inverted skills are skills that are usually done upside down, like a handstand. And sometimes they don't have to be completely in a vertical position. We're just gonna refer to them as like feet off the ground and more into like a balance, okay? So we're gonna start off with something pretty simple, something that I'm sure that you've seen before, but we're going to try to do this in a progressive way so that our skills will kind of build up as we get to the end of at the end of the workshop. So we're going to start off first with just a chest stand to a shoulder stand, but just give me 1 second. I'm just going to move this over here. Okay, so we're going to go into a chest stand into a shoulder stand, right? So Sophia is just going to execute that. She's going to go up into that chest stand, and then she's just going to bring her body over, and she's going to execute that shoulder stand, and then we're going to come out. All right, so how we can take this skill and make it something, just add another skill to it, is that we're going to just reverse it. So we're going to do that chest stand into the shoulder stand, and then we're going to come back to our chest stand and then exit. All right, so we're going to have it look like this. So we have our chest stand, we go into that shoulder stand, we go back into that chest stand, and then now we're going to come down and we're going to exit that way through a nice high cobra position. Good. So that's a pretty standard, I think that's a good skill, for a beginner to intermediate. And then this is another, so some of these skills are going to actually progress from that beginner intermediate to maybe more of an advanced. So let's just add another skill onto that. Let's add a forearm stand first, and then we'll lower ourselves down into that chest stand, bring yourself into the shoulder stand. And instead of exiting the way that we just did in the first skill, what we're going to do is just try to change up the exit a little bit. So we're going to actually bring our chin into our chest, and we're going to just roll through our back, just to give it a different exit than it is from the entrance, okay? So Sophia will demonstrate this. She's going to sit down on, that's it, okay, forearm to lower down to chest stand. And then shoulder stand. And then she's just going to bring that head around, and she's going to roll down and exit. So with that exit, you want to make sure that your dancers are actually bringing their chin into their chest, which allows the top of the shoulder to be more prominent onto the floor so that they don't actually bounce onto the top of their hips on the back. All right, so we'll just do that one more time. Just do the shoulder stand to just the last part. So just from that last part there, you'll see how Sophia brings her head forward, and then she rolls and she exits that way. Okay, so now we're going to take the same skills that we just did. So we've done our chest stand, we've done our shoulder stand, we've done our forearm stand, and now we're going to expand that even more. And we're going to bring that into, we're going to do a handstand first, so that we're going to add that element. So because we don't want to exit the same way as we just did the last two times, we want to think about how we can make the exit seem, just a little bit more unique or different. So when Sophia is in her shoulder stand, instead of bringing her head into the top of her shoulders to roll down, she's actually going to see, we'll break it down for you, but you'll actually see how her straight arm is going to maneuver in as close underneath her shoulder as possible. And she's actually going to be able to rotate herself into a bridge to recover. All right, so let's put all these skills together to form a little bit of a combination, and then we can talk about the exit if needed. Okay, so we're going to go up into that handstand position. We're going to go down into our forearm stand. We're going to lower ourselves down into that chest stand. We're going to go back to that shoulder stand, but we're going to change you can do any position that you want with your legs. And now watch Sophia as she brings her hand around. She rotates herself to that bridge, and then she recovers. Okay? So let's just do that last part again. So if you want to do it from just that shoulder stand, if you can. So we are in that shoulder stand position. Just watch how that straight arm comes through. She rotates herself over, and she exits all the way up. Okay? So when you're doing acro and you're putting skills together, these are great things for you to be able to do in your class that, for these acro islands if you're still teaching on Zoom, or it's a good way to just kind of, open up your creativity for your choreography, trying to always come up with a different exit than the entrance. All right, so now we're going to just go on to another combination here. We're going to do a handstand. We're going to lower ourselves down into the bridge. We're going to overpass our leg into headstand, and then we're going to come down into, and then we're going to push ourselves up, to a handstand, okay? It sounds like a lot, but let's just watch the skill. So we're going to go into the handstand. Once again, you can do any position that you want with your legs. You're going to come down. We are executing a nice forearm stand. We're going to press ourselves up into a headstand, and then we lift up and we hit a nice handstand position. Okay, so once again, your leg positions are optional. These are just suggestions or ideas on how to incorporate some of these skills together. All right, now we're going to do a handstand, and we're going to go into that bridge position. But instead of our top leg overpassing our bottom leg, we're actually going to roundage jump, so our leg is going to go away from that supporting leg. And then we're going to come around through our knee, and we're going to finish in a chest stand position, okay? So we're going to try to hold the handstand, execute that handstand position nice and solid. Then we're going to open. Then we're going to come rond-de-jambe through, around, and we're actually going to bring ourselves into that chest stand position. She could stretch her arms out the back. Good. And then exit. Okay. So now we've executed a handstand, a forearm stand, a chest stand, a shoulder stand. We've done all that. So we're just going to change it up a little bit here. So we're going to actually pencher into our handstand position. And then we're going to do a bridge. And then we're going to take our leg and we're going to rotate it all the way around in a full circle. But then we're going to arch ourselves. So we're going to change our direction. We're going to arch ourselves back into a forearm stand. Okay? And then from there, oh, that's all we're going to do, right? Then we're going to exit there. Okay, so penché. Going to hold that nice handstand position. Again, choose any leg position that you want. We're going to come down into that bridge. We're going to bend that knee in. We're going to do a full rotation. We have to move our hands with our body. We're going to go down to our forearms, and we're going to execute and finish into a nice forearm stand. Okay, so we'll see that again, and just try to make that transition into the forearm a little bit faster. You can see how her arms are following through there. That's it. Good, and exit. Awesome. Okay, so you can stay in that position there. The next skill that we're going to move into is something that I refer to as a head wheel. This skill you've seen quite often on the competitive stage in a contemporary routine or in an acro routine or in a lyrical routine, basically really any kind of discipline. So it's a head wheel. So we'll just demonstrate the head wheel just to make sure that we're all following each other here. So a head wheel is like pretty much right. Then it's a common skill right now. So how we wanted to look at this is I thought, how can we make this a little bit more acro and bring it more into the acro family? So what we're going to do is we're going to take that head wheel, but we're going to actually, instead of coming down onto our knees to finish that complete rotation of the wheel, we're going to bring it down into a forearm balance, okay? So we're going to do that head wheel. Go ahead. And then we're going to bring it around, and you're going to execute that into a forearm stand, all right? Now, there's many ways, that's it, good, come on down. So now we're going to do that again, and now there's many ways that you can even expand just on that skill, okay? So Zophia's going to do that again, and from that elbow, or from the forearm stand, she's going to bring that knee down, she's going to stand up, she's going to swing through, we're going to just do a back walkover, half turn to handstand, and we're going to exit like a front walkover. But there's so many different variations and so many different combinations that you can incorporate in this. But this is just what we'll show you, and hopefully it inspires you to come up with many other ways to come in and out of these skills. So go ahead. Yep. So it's just taking your handstand and that forearm stand and all of these, inverted skills that we have, these inversions, and just putting them together to make them kind of blend nice. All right, now we're going to do the same thing, but this time we're going to do it with a cart stand. So I like to refer to this as a cart stand because it's not the wheel part, it's just the cart part. So the cart part brings us up to that handstand. So let's just do that first, and then we'll stop there. Go ahead. So we're just going to do that. To me is a cart stand, right? Because it's like part of a cartwheel, but it's not the whole wheel. So this time we're going to do that cart stand, and we're going to do a half turn. We're going to very, very carefully lower ourselves down into our headstand. And then we're going to do a quarter turn to our forearm stand, and then we're going to split out to a front walkover. So let's put that together. Before you introduce this skill with your dancers, you want to make sure that they have the strength and that they have the control to lower themselves down to that headstand so that they're not, crashing down onto the top of their head. So go ahead. Half turn. and down. You got it. And half turn, quarter turn to there. And let's just come out of that through a front walkover position. So we're going to come up into that bridge and we're going to exit. Okay? So there's just, I love to put the combinations like this together with acro because there's no rules. You can do whatever you want, however you want to create that, those transitions of in and out. A quarter turn can make such a big difference to a skill. Just adding that a slight quarter turn and coming out different than you go in, it's a game changer, right? So now we're going to go into what we call a 12 o'clock. This is a 12 o'clock position. And the reason why we refer to this as a 12 o'clock is because we refer to this as a 12 o'clock position. So this is 12 o'clock, but this is also 12 o'clock. So what we do is we go into that with a half turn. So we go up, half turn, that's a 12 o'clock, okay? So this time we're going to go into, we're going to do our 12 o'clock, we're going to hold our handstand, then we're going to do a half turn to a forearm stand, then we're going to do a headstand with a half turn, then we're going to turn to chest stand, and then we're going to split to the floor. Okay? So I know that sounds like a lot, but this is what it's going to look like. Here we go. And split, and just bring yourself to there. Okay, so sometimes the words can make it sound like it's something like this, but putting it together, it's nice and elegant and smooth. And that's one of the things you want to try to do with your dancers. You really want to try to encourage all these transitions from shape to shape to be done as smooth as possible. Okay, now we're going to move on to back walkover Tinsica. So let's just do the back walkover Tinsica. The reason why I refer to this as a back walkover Tinsica is because of the timing of the hands. The hands are going down 1, 2, and then the feet follow 3, 4. So for me, that's where I would refer to this as a Tinsica. Some people have back to front, people have names for it. I'm going to refer to it as a back walkover Tinsica. Go ahead. Okay, so now this time what we're going to do is we're going to actually stop ourselves in that handstand position, okay? So we're going to do that back walkover Tinsica. We're going to hold our handstand. Then we're going to actually lower ourselves down to a chest stand. Then we're going to stag into a stag. Then we're going to exit, and our top leg is going to work over that bottom leg, right? And then we're going to arch back into a forearm stand, and then we're going to straddle out of that, okay? So it's going to look like this. And she pushes up and over, and then she lowers herself down into that forearm stand, and then she rotates to the straddle, and then she comes out. So the straddle, again, is just a different exit out of a skill that you see 1,000 times, right? So it's just trying to create something different, right? Just give it a different face, but to the same body, if that makes sense. Okay, and I think, oh, this is our, okay, so this is going to be our last skill, but we're going to give you 3 versions of this skill. So the first one is going to be a candle cartwheel. This is what we call a candle cartwheel. And it could be called a shoulder cartwheel. I don't even know. It could be called a shoulder roll. I'm not sure. But we call it a candle cartwheel because we refer to it as going through that candle position. So this is just the skill here. It's a candle and over to your knee, right? So we call it a candle wheel because your legs are in the same position as they would be if you were to do a cartwheel. So now what we're going to do is, instead of coming down onto your knees, we're actually going to take that candle cartwheel and we're going to exit through to a chest stand, okay? So you have to make sure you just rotate your head around. Go ahead. Rotate around. There you go. And come on down. Awesome, okay? So again, it's just thinking about those skills and really trying to tap into that creativity to say, how can I make the exit look different than the entrance? This time we're going to do that candle cartwheel to chest stand, and then we're just going to rotate over to our shoulder. Go ahead. and shoulder. You got it. Awesome. Now come down. All right, and this is our last and final skill for you today. We're gonna take this, and what we're gonna do with it is we're gonna reverse it. So we're gonna do that candle cartwheel to the chest stand, over to that shoulder stand, and then we're going to reverse our body through that candle cartwheel again, back into that chest stand, and then back into that shoulder stand. All right, so here we go. So we do that candle cartwheel over to that chest stand, we lift up and we hold over, and then we come back. You got it, and then you're gonna come back into that shoulder stand. Oh no, you're gonna just exit, let's just exit that. You can actually go back into that shoulder stand. You could probably keep going and make it one continuous movement. So that's all we have for you today to share with you. I hope that you enjoyed it, and best of luck.
That was awesome, you guys. Thank you so much. Zofia, what's so magical about watching you, and Trish, the way that you train your dancers is that they have such solid foundations that when you ask them to do something a little bit different, they're able to make that happen. And I think that that is so key. Sometimes teachers think, well, that looks really cool. Let's just start there. And I think something that maybe they don't realize is how much time and effort is put into really solid foundations at Rhythm Plus to make sure that those kids know their basics inside out and backwards, so that when you say, you know, we're just going to change it a little bit, they're able to accomplish that, because it's not as easy as it looks, that's for sure. But I also love the way that your creative mind works, where, you know, there's no reason to just do it the way that we did it last year. We can always change it a little bit. And like you said, a quarter turn or a straddle or a different leg position can make the trick look like a completely different skill. So that was awesome. Thank you guys so much for that fantastic class, and how much you can pack into 20 minutes. I mean, you just gave us a year's worth of material in 20 minutes. So I really appreciate that.
Well, I'm glad to share. I'm glad to share.
Thank you. And thank you, teachers, for joining us for this weekly mini. You can learn more about acrobatic arts at acrobaticarts.com. Be sure to join us next week for our session on many ways to use a yoga block with our special guest instructor, acrobatic arts examiner and course conductor, Jill Ford. And Jill always has really practical ideas that you can use in your classroom, so I know it's going to be a great class. We're looking forward to it, and we'll see you then.